This is a rebuild of a SBN44 MIKUNI for a 96 Tigershark Monte Carlo 640. This will be applicable to a number of Tigersharks that have the 640 with the stainless exhaust. I believe that's a 64 horse, but refer to your specific year and model rebuild guide for exact details as far as jetting, pop-off valve settings, etc. So I'm working on this carburetor that I received from a customer. Unfortunately, in the mail, the vacuum plate, the vacuum nipple was broken off in shipping, as seen here. Okay. So what we got here is a MIKUNI 44 millimeter carburetor out of a 1996 Tigershark Monte Carlo. Step one, disassemble it. If you don't have the repair manual, it is important to make sure you pay attention to all the different gaskets in the order in which they went on, because every year is going to be different, and the kit you're going to get for the rebuild is going to be universal. And so you'll have a bunch of gaskets and components that you won't be needing. So unfortunately, in this case, the vacuum nipple was broken off in shipping, so we'll have to replace this plate. But right away, when I take this off, I can see there is not only the plastic diaphragm, but also the original rubber or paper seal, paper gasket. And then behind it, I can already smell the bad gas. Behind it here is a rubber O-ring. All of this will be replaced. This does look like a reman carburetor. Yeah, maybe not. Doesn't look too bad so far though. Wow, rubber does not want to come out. Oh, it's got a flat side on it, so that's definitely bad. Okay, so this is the fuel pump side. These are one-way check valves. These will be replaced. We'll have to pop these rubbers out and replace the center, these little plastic flaps and rubber sections. Again, it's good to keep things in order. So this is the air diaphragm, and then this is the fuel diaphragm. We're going to replace all of this. All right. Doesn't quite right to me, so I'll have to review how this is assembled in the manual, because that doesn't look right to me. Maybe it is. Oof, that smells like varnish. Oh yeah. Some bad waterlogged gas there. So here's the fuel filter, and it's plugged. I'm going to make a note of that to the customer, so they know that they need to put an inline fuel filter, pre-filter. Okay, so at this point, the fuel pump side is disassembled. Probably should take the air filter housing off. That's not really a filter though. But... perfect. 10 mil. 10 mil here. Got a washer and bolt. Got the spark arrestor on top. And take the housing off. Should be 4 bolts. Get my screw in. There it is. Alright, so now I'm going to take apart what would be considered the float bowl, fuel bowl, but in this case it's a diaphragm. Okay, that's going to be nice and stuck. I don't know where my impact hammer went, so we will use a vice grip. I find better luck. Get some garbage on. There it goes. All right. Oof. That is some resin. So when everyone ever talks about a carburetor being plugged with resin, that's I haven't seen that type of resin since pre-ethanol fuel, something like MTBE, methyl butyl tetraethylene, I don't remember what it's called. So I don't think this was caused by ethanol fuel, although when you see the gel, it looks jelly like that. That could also be ethanol, but anyway. Gotta be careful. Oh, it's already stripped. See that guy right there? That's gonna be a doozy to get out. All right, we'll worry about that later. Let's get the obvious easy stuff. This is the retainer screw for the needle and seat. This is the pop-off valve shaft screw. All right, so somebody had a bad time with that one. I don't think my impact hammer is going to do it. I should have brought my MAP gas with me. I'll try this lightly first. And we'll try propane. If it doesn't go with propane, I have to wait till oh, actually that turned okay, I think. Yeah, we're good. If that went easy, then maybe we'll get lucky on this guy. If not, I'll also have luck using a Dremel and making. The thing is, I don't have those screws with me here, so this might require reassembly at the lake where I have spare parts. Should have brought those with me. All right. Make the Dremel. Okay, well I cut out the fun part. I used heat, just propane. I cut a notch in here with a Dremel. And then I used my flathead impact. And what actually ended up doing it, took a flathead screwdriver and I kind of just wedged into the piece and got it moving like that, kind of wiggled it. And I think that just kind of broke the surface tension or the surface friction on the head of the screw. So when I hit it with the impact, it popped loose. So this screw is garbage. We need to go get a new one. Not a big deal. Where did I put my flathead screwdriver? This will be handy. Now, that's bad. So this we replaced regardless, but it melted because of the heat. And then this piece here, I believe, should come with the kit. That screw doesn't though, so I don't. Maybe if I put it in the wire brush. Clean the clothes now. Fine. That one screw. The smaller screwdriver. Let's not screw that one up. We'll come back to that later. I don't think I have my. Well, maybe I do. Ooh, this might be enough. There we go. So, there. Okay. And then inside here is a rubber gasket. We're gonna pop that out. That's garbage. Okay. Pull out the needle. We're also gonna do the seat. Need the retainer out. There it goes. That is really rusty. Oh boy, that's gonna be a challenge to get that seat out. Okay, so we want to get our jets out. So this is a low speed or idle jet. I'm pulling out. Came out of the bottom hole here. And what you want to do is look at it, look through it, and actually it's quite clear. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. Yeah, probably not. Just looking at the light through it, making sure it's not plugged or dirty. So that was the low speed, and then the one up at the top here is the high speed. We're gonna not only inspect that, make sure it's clear and clean, but we're also going to cross-reference what's in here to what should be in here. So again, looking in, yep, it's plugged. So we'll throw that into the chemical dip. But I have on the face here, it's hard to read, but it says 107.5, and I looked all the specs up in the service manual and I got a high jet of 107.5. So this is the correct jet. And then for the idle, I got 112.5. Now, that's going to be on the side of, not in the face like the main jet, 112.5. So that is the correct idle jet. All right, so the next step is going to be to get that seat out. I'm going to have to get my tools. Shoot, oh, yeah. So we got some needle nose here. I'm grabbing on the outside. You don't want to grab on the inside bore because it'll scratch it. I don't believe we'll be reusing this, but just in case. So, okay, that actually came out really easy. There's a rubber O-ring on there. That'll need to be replaced if we don't also do the seat. But so the fuel comes from the pump side, pushes on this side, and then the seat right here pushes down on that. And then there's the pop-off spring. We'll test that when we do the reassembly to make sure we have the right tension. But that prevents the fuel from going in unless, I guess it's negative pressure, where the fuel's being drawn in from the one side of the diaphragm. So it's important that this doesn't leak. And then the next bit would be to take apart the butterfly. So this one got bent. The customer, I think, had there's no doubt with the resin that was built up in here that this shaft would get bound up, and he was trying to force it open and bent the throttle plate. So we have to take that out. Normally I would not even touch this until after a good cleaning and a chemical dip, because it'll probably loosen up, but we have to take it out regardless. So don't want to strip it though. Maybe I'll put some heat on it, you know. So I just took this is all I have on hand, my plumbing torch. I didn't even do nothing too crazy. I just got it lukewarm. I actually saw the resin start to bubble up in the plate, and I just firmly pushed down and turned, and it started coming out. But she is very sticky. It looks like it's coming out. Oh wow. All right. So both screw heads bound up enough that they just snapped off. I guess I'm not too worried about it. The shaft's going to be replaced. So I'm just trying not to damage the bore here. The one side's coming out. The other side seems to be bound up. Might need to think about this a bit. I wouldn't be surprised if that screw bit sticking out a little bit. I guess I don't care if I butterfly shot. I'm not trying to save it there. And the shaft is shot. Vice grip. All right. Well, after fighting with it for a bit with the vice grips, I was able to get it out. But clearly a little bit of the screw stub was still in there. So now we got to get this off. Impact would be the best way to do that. Maybe I should take a break here and clean up my tools. Got a lock washer under that nut, throttle plate, or throttle cable plate, I don't know what it's called. Throttle cable locks into there, turns it. The fun bit here is going to be our spring, since I can't turn the shaft. Get tension off of this. There we go. Pop off. Ow. Oops. All right, there goes the spring. I should just tap this out, I think. Yep. Get a punch for that. Yeah, that should work. Now, if it wasn't that I'm recording, I'd be using my my vise. Maybe I should just do that. Oh, it just came right out there. Perfect. Okay, so we got O-rings on either side. O-ring came off on this side. We'll be replacing those that's in the kit. But otherwise, this has been stripped, except for our adjustment screws. So you know this is low because it has an L right there, and this is high. So literally, this would be your idle. The high speed. It's interesting. Also on this side, never mind. Yep, there we go. Low. So here's the low. They have a guide, so you can only turn it so much. That's supposed to just come right off. And then we can unscrew it entirely while I get it out. Come on, it's always just popped off for me in the past. I'll come back to that one. So this is high. High needle adjustment. High speed. Good. It is pretty crusty in there. Oof. I gotta figure out why this won't just pop right off. Don't want to break it because it's kind of nice. There's a flathead screw underneath it, so it's kind of redundant.
other than the fact that it prevents you from going beyond a very small range. I'll figure it out later. There it goes. I'll have to figure it out later though, because I'm going to have to bottom it out. And then high speed is 1 5/8 turnout for factory. Okay, there. Now she is completely stripped. Just looking for any obvious easy clean, well, other than the choke. I'm not going to waste my time with the choke. It's pretty good. All right, so the next step is going to be to dip the carb in all of its parts. Everything that we're going to reuse at least. So let's start with the little bits. We need to take apart these. Don't need to chem dip my tools. Oh, I gotta pull those. Yeah, I don't need to chem dip this. I probably should. So we're gonna take these rubber, I don't know, rivets, plugs, just push them out. Okay, and then the diaphragm comes off with a little plastic flap diaphragm, both sides. Mental note, because this is direction, the side that has the ring on the outside, notice how one side's curved, one side has the ring has the plastic flap on it. Plug goes through and holds it in. So for reassembly, that's important. Okay, it's all going to be garbage there, so I don't care about damaging that. Place that in there. Oh man. Yeah, let's go ahead and clean that. This has got to go in. Let's throw that in. Throw these guys in there. External screws don't need to go in, but internal screws do. We're not going to use that. Put the jet in there. Put the jet in there. Yeah, may as well stick this in there. I have to get this gasket.
So these needles, we got ourselves the O-ring that's going to get replaced. I'll just leave this assembled and stick it in there. I think I'm going to oh wow, these rubber O-rings are hard as a rock. I'm going to keep them assembled without the rubber. And I think that's everything. Oh, this guy needs to go in there too. And that is everything. Okay, so everything's gonna get reused. I'm not planning on reusing the needle and seat, but I'm sticking it there just in case we have a problem with the new parts. Here, get the rubber O-ring off. Okay. This carb should fit in here. I don't fit without a tray. Just did it last weekend off a different carburetor. Yeah, perfect. Oops, oh, you didn't see it go in. So anyway, the tray and all the parts go in there. And I'm gonna have it sit there for about 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours. And we'll come back and see what it looks like. Let's see, what is it, 8 o'clock? 9, 10, 12. Oof, yeah, be a late night. Then I'll assemble it maybe tomorrow, maybe, yeah, we'll see. All right, here we are the next day. I pulled the carburetor out of the chemical dip last night. It was in there for probably about 5, 6 hours. And a lot of the paint started to come up. So I cleaned it with a light brush and washed it off to get all the residue off of the chemical dip. I also took a light brush on the Dremel, and I cleaned up some of the corrosion that was in this section here, the needle and seat area. The bore also had a lot of calcium looking deposits, some sort of buildup. I ran a brush in there to clean that out. And I took a 00 steel wool and just polished this up, got all the, there's a little bit of material still on there, it's all gone now, and some of the corrosion that was in the bore. So I think now I'm gonna pull the package out for the throttle plate and start assembling that. So this was a throttle plate kit the customer sourced, not sure where. SBN 44 millimeter. Okay. Okay, so I went ahead and I put some grease on the shaft. We don't want to damage our lip seals. I also installed the lip seals. I did not see a direction on it at all. They look identical either direction. So I don't believe they're directional. I did put grease in on the lip seal so we don't damage it during assembly. As far as orientation, which way this should go, I went ahead and put the E-clip, C-clip on the one side with the nylon washer. And this is the throttle plate side with the nut. Remember, we have this is keyed, and it goes on like that. This is the idle screw, so this is the throttle cable. We know what's going to be on that side. So I already put, this side is already assembled. I'm going to go ahead and slide it through. That might damage. I should do that. Maybe I'm going to change my mind here. I don't want the threads to damage the seal. Yeah, maybe I should have done that last. Here it goes. All right. Let's put the nylon washer back on. Put the clip back on. Now this shaft is a little bit different from factory. It has a nub that comes out with a clip, where the old one, it's like a washer that's welded or fused on there. It's fine, it's going to function the same. The shaft is otherwise identical. So then on the other side, we're going to put the, that's a good point. Gotta think about that now. Doesn't have a clip on that side, it shouldn't matter. Okay, install our butterfly. Came with new screws, so that's good. I got backwards. Perfect, I think. Boy, that does not look like the right bore size. Let's compare it to the old one. Wherever the old one went, there it is. Yeah, they're the same size. Interesting. Oh, this is 120, this is 150, so nope. Slightly different. Okay, I didn't film the assembly because there's a little bit of cussing and going back and forth. But what I did, because this is an aftermarket shaft, and it's kind of universal. Like I said before, whether I'm going to play that or not, this old shaft that walked away on me, here it is. This is longer. The new shaft's a little bit longer, all right? That's fine, just off that one side. But on this side, the kit came with, so here's the old nylon washer that I replaced with the new one that came in the kit. The kit also came with another nylon washer and some spacers. So here are the spacers here. The nylon washer is sitting here somewhere. I did not use, here's the old seal, new seals. I did not use these spacers underneath the spring. I used the, and I did not use the new nylon washer. This spacer includes the nylon washer. It is in really good shape. It all fits really nice. I didn't want to play around with this because this looks kind of janky. And considering there's no play or slop in this, I just used the one that was on there. The spring, I just oriented the tall part against the housing, and then the shorter one against this bracket on the backside. I put it on, and I basically ended up giving it one full turn until it slotted in, and that feels really good. The detent on that shutting is right where it should be. One more turn would be damn near impossible, and it would be uncomfortable. So almost exactly one full rotation. It was just what was natural, where this pin was like over here, and I pulled the spring around and it notched in. So I would say this is assembled for the throttle plate. You don't want these screws to come out on you, so I use Loctite or some sort of thread locker, and then I set the idle so there's just the slightest gap. I'll provide instructions for the customer to set their idle. I think it's 1500 RPM in the water. You don't do it out of the water. I'm going to continue now, I think, with the needle and seat. I'll pull out those parts now, but the throttle plate part is done. Okay, I didn't film this. I just got to get this work done. I was going through the kits he sent me. There was a 2-pack over here. They didn't seem to fit very well, this kit. This other kit, didn't like the build quality as much, but everything's fitting correctly.
Neither of them came with a needle and seat, so we're going to reuse the needle and seat. They look okay. We'll be testing them, but we replaced the O-ring on this seat. It didn't want to go in, it's pretty typical. I did lubricate it, and so I took a 5/16 socket and I tapped it in with no problem. I just put some dirt in there. Great. I'll clean that out a little bit better in a second. Then put a screw in with a retainer, which I was in the chem dip and cleaned up. So the next step is going to be to put the seat in, the needle into the seat. I better clean it out first since I got some junk in. All right, well, I've cleaned out the seat. We're getting way too far ahead of ourselves to be worrying about the pop-off. I'm going to start working on the different jets and this metering orifice next. So I think step one would be to just drop in our main and high and low jets. I'm gonna just blow out the jet, make sure it's nice and clean. It looks good. Get that one started. So I'm sticking the larger jet into the hole up top, just good and tight. And then our low speed jet, there she is. We did verify at disassembly that this was the correct jet. And that goes into this hole here, not the lower one. That's going to be to hold our bead ring plate on. A smaller flat bit. Again, good and tight. Don't over tighten it. You will cross thread or strip. Okay, just snug. All right, the next bit we need is a rubber gasket that goes down there. Remember which directions goes. There's going to be a rib. It really only goes in one way, but you know the top has these little extra ribs around it. Before you put the cap on, there should be a clear piece of plastic, and you need this little flat washered screw to hold that on. I probably need to get some more paper towel. All right, so the hole is for this pin to go through, and then this goes into that hole. That should help line it up. Yeah, that's better. There. I'm gonna clean it up a little bit. All right, now we can drop it in. This side up. Again, I'm gonna use my bad screw for now. I'll replace it later. All right, so if we were done here, which we're not, we still have to do the pop-off valve spring and test that. We would put this face down and put the cap on, but we're going to come back to this. We're going to start building out our fuel pump. I think we could just put this off to the side for the moment because we need to put in our one-way valve on the plate here. It's all clean and dried off, the orifices are open. Yep. See nothing concerning. All right, so a little package here with the clear bits and bops. So here's our two check valve plates, and then we need the two rubber retainers. One, two, and some trash still in there. So we want to have one on one side, one on the other. The sides are determined by this flat ring. If it's smooth, that's not where that goes. It goes on top like this, and it pushes through to the bottom. If I'm lucky, I'll just push right in. Yeah, that was pretty easy. Sometimes you gotta use a little lubricant to get this to go in. So we'll do the same thing to the other side. We'll wipe it down. Make sure that head comes all the way through and it slides a little bit. Looks good. Okay. All right. Next thing we're gonna do is drop in our final filter here, brand new. Just pops right in there. Again, I should have said this earlier, I'm sure I did. This is a universal kit. You're gonna get a universal kit. It doesn't mean that you use every single gasket. So in this case, we need the rubber O-ring that fills in all of these grooves. And then there should be a paper plate. Okay, So I went and got my laptop just to make sure I had the order of these gaskets correct, and this is how it should be for a 96 Monte Carlo 640 SBN44 MIKUNI. So kind of got ahead of myself here. Step one, install your filter. Drop that in. Put in your O-ring that I have here. Now, like I said, your kit, I've said before, your kit is going to be universal, have lots of pieces that you won't necessarily be needing. In this case, I'm going to go with this diaphragm gasket. There's another one very similar that looks like this, has a bigger hole, and the O-ring protrudes through it, so I don't want that one. Now, according to the assembly, you do that, and then you put your one-way check valves in, which we've done already. I'll make sure that that's cut in the video, and that gets placed on top here. The next step. One thing to make note also is this is very directional. There's only one way to put it in. There's also a tab that you can stick on the top there. Tabs here, and then again the filter protrudes into this orifice like that. You grab your new O-ring, drop it in to the groove, and then the next bit is a clear, there it is, clear diaphragm for the vacuum pump. Goes there. Now the next one is going to be a paper gasket, and then this is going to look off in this video because I didn't fully clean off the old gasket on this piece. This is broken. The nipple is broken off, so I'm going to put a different one on it at a later date before I ship it back out. But then that would go with a clean aluminum face on top of the sandwich and get bolted down. The rest of the gaskets are not applicable to this specific model carb. Then we go and cinch them all down. Shouldn't get too crazy because I'm gonna have to add up later. Okay, so the jetting and bowl side is done. Other than this plate needing to be replaced, the fuel pump side is done. Take a note, it has arrows for in versus return, and then this is the pulse off the engine. Now I need WD-40. In preparation, the way I handle the pop off, there's many different tools to accomplish this. But I put pressure on the inlet, which is the bottom one, and I plug off the top one. Now I'm just using a pressure regulator, and according to my spec sheet, I have pop off is 55 psi. We're going to fill the needle seat with WD-40, plug the return, and just turn up the pressure till I hit 55. Don't see any bubbling coming out of the needle, so that's good. 40. Oh, and we're already popping at just over 40. So actuate it. It didn't really pop, it more started to just leak. So put a little more pressure or more fluid in there, build the pressure up a little, and it popped right at 20. It's not strong enough. That spring isn't sitting in its bore correctly, so that's probably why. That worked correctly. Good. 40, 55. Perfect. That's what you need. Okay, got distracted here while a car was coming in and I forgot to plug the return. So I put the gauge within hopefully somewhat viewable range. We'll do this one more time. Okay, plug it, return. 20, 40, 55. Ooh. Okay, that's exactly on the money. So we're good. So the next bit, this is the diaphragm. Here's the middle, the diaphragm, the middle part goes down. This little pin here against the armature should sit in a ridge. And then we need our backer plate. And, oh yeah, we forgot to put our plate on the throttle. Okay. As we get to the end here, all the extra parts reminds me I'm forgetting things. Throttle plate, cable, thingamabobber. Then we put our lock washer. That makes more sense. I'm reusing everything for this assembly, except I have to replace the O-ring on them. So here's the assembly. It's a washer, spring washer, and then O-ring from the kit. That should be the low speed with the stop cap on it. Try not to damage the tip, so it looks brand new. Do the same thing here. Clean it up. So in my hand is the high speed adjuster. And here I see a letter H, an open orifice. So we're gonna drop this right in here. We will set that last so I can see it. And this one has an L right there on the bottom. This will be tricky because I never did get that cap to come off. Oh, there it goes, perfect. Okay, so this cap should come off of here. In the disassembly phase, it did not want to come off. All right. Have that O-ring on there, yep. All right. We're gonna bottom it out. Not going to force it. Once you feel the bottom, you stop. Okay, that's the bottom. Now that was low. We want exactly one turnout. So I'm gonna do half and one turn on the dot. I think that looks right. Let's just verify half, one. It's right there, so we want to go half, one. All right. Now I'm going to put this back on right in the middle for fine adjustment for low speed mixture. Okay. So a person could turn that either direction a little bit, depending on their altitude, to dial it in. Now the high side, according to my notes, is 1 5/8. So that's just a little over half. All right, so let's tighten it down. All right, that's bottomed out. 1 5/8, so pointing it right here. Half, 1, half, and a little more. Okay, so that's baseline set. Other than putting on all the accessories, try to remember what direction this goes. So this sits in, this is the PTO side, from my recollection. This is the front. Oh, what do I do with this socket? I thought I had a deep socket. There it is. Okay, good to go. I'm gonna tape it off, clean it up real good with the carb cleaner, get all the oils off, tape it off, throw a coat of paint on it, and then a couple days here I'm headed to the lake. I've got a couple spare carbs that I use for parts that I can use to scavenge a screw out of. I'll box it up and ship it back. Should be like new. The only thing the customer's going to be aware of is out of the box it should be good other than the throttle.
The idle.
They will need to set the throttle there. Now, outside of water, it's going to be set a little high, put it in water, but it's really by ear because the book says 1500 RPM, I'm pretty sure. But I don't think anybody's got an RPM gauge where you would mark the white line on the output shaft, on the damper or something, coupler, and get the exact RPM. I just do it by ear, where I feel like it's not going to stall me and not take off too quickly. But anyway, that's it.